This week on Talking Royals, the King and Harry's team meet in London. Was this a peace summit?
This is progress of some sort.
I'm going to call it a coffee morning. Is this opening the door for something to happen after the summer break?
Following in Princess Diana's footsteps, Harry returns to Angola.
There are still 1,000 minefields, and Harry obviously understands the power of that image.
It was a big, big deal because not only was Diana entering a new area of concern, she was accused of being political in the way that she did it.
I'm not a political figure. I am a humanitarian figure, and always have been and always will be.
And just what does one get for the woman who has everything for her birthday?
A personalised cling film holder.
Is this something you'd both like for your birthdays at some point?
I would neither want it to be personalised nor anything. No form of cling film, thank you, for my birthday.
Are you sure?
She found it very amusing.
Hello, welcome to Talking Royals. I'm Charlene White, and as ever, joined by Chris and Lizzie. A reminder that if you're enjoying this, you can hear us every week by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. So as usual, we'll have a bit of a roundup of the week before we get into all the new stuff. You guys were not together this week. There's been a split in the camp.
Split in the camp this week, yeah.
Chris, talk me through it.
Well, I really wanted to go and see the dogs because we discussed my own connection to Battersea the other week, but I ended up having to go to Windsor to do bulletins about the Peace Summit. You know what? I hate the word Peace Summit. I'm going to find another way of explaining it. I went to Windsor to talk about the fact that 3 people met for coffee.
We're going to get into that. But
yes. So Lizzie went to Battersea, and then later in the week I went to learn more about the West's relationship with Islam and the King.
And was the King there?
Yes, in Oxford. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. But you decided you didn't fancy either of those things?
So I went on Monday to Battersea with the Queen.
Okay.
Which was lovely.
Did you pick up a dog like the last
time? Do you know what? I had my eyes on 4-month-old Dipsy, who
was very cute.
So cute, yeah. But Dipsy had already found a home.
Oh.
It was but super, super cute.
Maybe next time.
That would have been quite
It was a gorgeous day.
One Battersea event, I end up with a dog, and the next Battersea event,
I know. I was really ready and raring to go.
For me to bring in a puppy.
Yeah. But I'm not sure how I feel about you both being split up for the week. I feel like we should do our own Peace Summit and get you guys back together.
Yes.
You know,
maybe we should arrange for a photographer outside to take some pictures.
Yeah, of candid photos of our little Peace Summit. Just we can call it like the ITV News Peacekeeper. I am the ITV Peacekeeper.
Welcome.
Thank
you.
There we
like
go.
Therapy.
Yes, exactly. But I won't do therapy on you on the podcast. We'll do that afterwards. But we're going to kick off with Wimbledon because there was one of the newspapers the week before the finals were and ahhing about whether or not Kate was going to be there at the finals, if, you know, the awkwardness that might happen, if it was a particular player that she's got to hand over to. Anyway, none of that stuff happened. And she had a great time.
She did. And we said last week we thought she would go because she did go last year while she was having that cancer treatment. So therefore, definitely this year. And you can see that she was joined by it's a Wales Family Day outing minus Louis. I think I'm always slightly disappointed when Louis doesn't turn up. But
we miss Louis when Louis not there.
Yeah, so lots of people were like, where's Prince Louis? Where's Prince Louis? Prince Louis is only 7. And George and Charlotte only first went to Wimbledon when they were 8. So yes. Louis still quite young.
The issue they've got with Louis is to use a phrase that my niece uses quite a lot. Louis has main character energy. So when Louis
character energy.
He has main character energy. So when Louis not there, we miss him.
Yeah.
You know, he does tend to steal attention when he's out and about.
Yes.
So.
And the kids, I mean, it was great pictures of the kids. There they are actually meeting Yannick Sinner, who won the men's singles. And Louis wasn't forgotten. The children had balls signed by Yannick Sinner, and they got one for Prince Louis as well. So he got a little memento of the day.
So what you're saying is when Louis is there, everyone else turns into that other phrase that I hear often, an NPC, a non-player character.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and then Louis kind of steals the show. So
yeah, he steals the show every single time.
Well, he did it Trooping the Colour this year, didn't he? So,
he did.
Yeah.
Stole the show again.
Yeah.
We love a bit of Louis on this programme.
Charlotte was a proper mini-me to her mum, though, there with her fan. Lots of people comparing kind of, you know, how similar they were. So they looked like they had a great day.
Yeah, but also it was boiling. So she had to try and keep those kids cool at that point.
Well, the day before she went to the women's singles finals, and that was also a really hot day, but the match only lasted 57 minutes. And Anna Simova was beaten 6-love, and said in her press conference afterwards how the princess had said to her, keep your head up.
We've got to talk about the thing that has dominated our thoughts and thoughts of the public since those pictures candid shots were released. The Peace Summit, let's get into it. What happened?
Okay, well, let's start by not calling it a Peace Summit. What should we call it? Another word. Basically, so the two senior members of staff from Harry and Meghan's office met one senior member of staff from Buckingham Palace. Yeah. They had a drink, a coffee, and then they left. Is that a Peace Summit?
Well, yeah, because those, Harry and the King.
I have to say, this is progress of some sort, however you want to look at it, even if it is just a coffee.
I'm going to call it a coffee morning. You lot can call it a Peace Summit.
It is the two sides coming together in some form, and that meeting wouldn't have happened without the agreement of the principals involved. So I do think, while it is, as you say, just a coffee or whatever they were drinking, it is progress of some sort.
Yeah. I do have to say that as the story goes on regarding, who's not talking to who and what have you, I think it's very peak reality TV that the coffee morning happened in the first place, let alone that it was leaked. It's sort of like, both sides, the animosity is so strong we cannot pick up the phone and talk amongst ourselves. We are going to get our people to do it for us.
Yes, well, let's give the podcast listener and viewer some details. So Meredith Maines is a newly appointed communications secretary for Harry and Meghan. She's based in California. She happened to be over in London doing her sort of, okay, what's it all about in London? What are the press like? How does it operate over there? But Harry's also got a fairly newly appointed press man in London as well, called Liam Maguire. And those were the two from Team Sussex that met a chap called Tobin Andre, who's the most senior communications official in Buckingham Palace. So would any of them be meeting without Harry saying it's okay and without the King saying it's okay? Of course not. So they had the meeting. The strange part of the story is that the Mail on Sunday not only found out it was happening, but had a photographer positioned in Green Park and snapped them on the balcony. And then you could ask, well, why did they go on to the balcony?
So where were they?
They were on the balcony of a private members club, which is just off St James's Street. In fact, we went sort of, I say sniffing. We kind of went sniffing around the other day, didn't we?
We were in the area anyway, and we decided to walk through Green Park and see where it was and how obvious it was.
Is it obvious?
Yeah, so looking at the picture, you'd have to, as you walk from Green Park Station down towards Buckingham Palace, there is a pedestrian pavement sidewalk.
Yes, there is,
and you can see some of the buildings that back onto Green Park. The particular club, which we understand is the club of the Buckingham Palace man, has a balcony on the first floor, and that's where they sat just long enough for the photographer to take a photo, let's say.
I would just like to say to anybody that's not based in London and doesn't necessarily understand how these things work, there are several members' clubs in London that do not have balconies.
Yes. You don't have to sit on the balcony if you go to one. Yeah, quite.
No.
So the big question this week is how did this get out?
Exactly.
Was it good old-fashioned journalism? Was it a leak from one side or the other? And we know how much distrust there is between both sides. Harry has said it numerous times in different books and interviews. But also from the other side, I think we have been told that they have felt that, every time they've had any contact with Harry, it's ended up in the public domain. So I think given there is that distrust between them, the fact that this has ended up on the front page of the Mail on Sunday, you have to wonder, has it been halted before it's even really got going?
And it's really hard, I think, for general folk, members of the public, you and I, to sort of understand that two family members can be in this position within their lives, and other family members can't be instructed to try and help mend things in the family. It's got to be essentially, I mean, I'm not saying that they're a PA, they're not at all, but they are members of staff.
Yeah.
The members of staff have to come together to try and get some kind of reconciliation, which I think really does speak to just how serious the situation is at the moment.
Yes, but I suppose we do sometimes make the mistake of thinking that this family is like all the rest of our families. Like if you wanted to get hold of your mum, you'd probably pick up the phone or you'd WhatsApp her.
Yeah.
I mean, in the old days when the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, wanted to get hold of Queen Elizabeth, he'd have to get his private secretary to call her private secretary to find out if there was a time when they could schedule a phone call. It's a slightly different family, let's be clear. But as you were just saying, well, why can't they get like a mediator, for example, a brother?
Or like Eugenie, for example, or, and one of the cousins, for example. Or do you think just nobody wants to get involved with this at the minute?
I mean, it's very delicate. But you say how...
you can have this
love
one.
to, or slightly busy.
Yeah, sorry, I'm doing something that day. Can you just no, listen? There's a serious rift, but I think there's a greater chance of Harry making up with the king, of father and son mending that relationship. A much greater chance of that happening than the brother relationship, the sibling one that Harry.
Well, they haven't had a summit,
which is completely broken, and there is no such thing as a coffee morning for them.
Coffee morning.
Quite.
But if you look in the last few years, all those significant moments that have happened to the royal family, and still how they haven't been able to come together. You've had the death of Queen Elizabeth, the death of Prince Philip, the cancer diagnoses. All those things have happened, and those haven't brought the family back together. So this is going to take very careful, and it's going to take a lot of work to navigate this, but it is the first step, hopefully.
And worth remembering,
together.
Again, could this be opening the door because Harry is coming over in September? That much we know.
Yes.
For a series of engagements just before Donald Trump. So the king can't even use Donald Trump as a reason not for seeing his son, because we think it's the week before Trump's coming here, the dates of which we've now gotten. We'll talk about it in a minute. But so is this opening the door for something to happen after the summer break?
Well, do you know who's probably watching the piece on it very carefully and very keenly? The Beckhams. Okay, so moving on to the state visit that you've just mentioned. We've got, as you said, we've got those dates confirmed, haven't we? I'm really rather looking forward to the fest. So what date should be in my diary?
At the 17th to the 19th of September is the dates have been set, and it will be held at Windsor Castle, as we were saying last week. It'll be really interesting to see how it will differ from President Macron's visit there, and also what they will do to create the fest.
The fest. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is the state visit when Trump is going to come over and delight everyone with his presence. But I think, as we were saying before, when I was in Windsor on Monday, small town, the streets are quite narrow. There's going to be no open carriage procession like we had with President Macron. If there are going to be protests, which I'm sure there probably will, where are they going to put them? Are they going to do one of those managed things where they shove them in the field about 2 miles away and say, yeah, you can protest over there, but you can't get any closer? It's going to be a massive, massive operation.
And also, that Donald Trump loves these big occasions. Will it feel as big if it's not at the palace? Will he feel like he's been hard done by?
Well, I suppose
it's being renovated. You can't go.
Well, I know, but will he sort of feel a little bit like, it was nice?
As he keeps saying, it's his unprecedented second state visit, and his first one was at Buckingham Palace. So he's now ticking them off.
True. He might see it that way. That's also true. Yeah. Well, let's get into
Windsor Castle's not that bad. Let's be clear.
It's a castle. Visually, it will look great on Donald Trump's Instagram. Moving on to the archive section of the programme, and we're looking at 1997, when Princess Diana did that very famous walking shot of her visiting landmines in Angola. And this was about the damage caused by landmines after wars end, especially the impact it has on children. At the time, back in 97, this was huge. It really had a huge impact, didn't it?
Absolutely huge, because she was with a charity called the Halo Trust, who are still to this day working in Angola, taking mines out of the ground, which are still killing and injuring men, women and children. But when she did it, and particularly this shot here, this little girl was called Sandra. She had lost a leg. It was a big deal because not only was Diana entering a new area of concern, she was accused of being political in the way that she did it. And you sit here now and you're going, how on earth can someone saying we should have fewer landmines and kids should be able to play in Angola without being, at risk of being blown up? But at the time, it was deemed a little bit too sensitive an issue, a bit too political. And that's why those pictures of her coming down that area in Angola were absolutely huge. And they still resonate to this day.
Yeah, well, let's hear from Diana.
I've had hands-on experiences before, but this working trip has been slightly different. I've had more contact with people and there's been less formalities. I knew the statistics, but putting a face to those figures brought the reality home to me. Like when I met Sandra, the 13-year-old girl 2 days ago who'd lost her leg. For people like her, the rest of her life will be very different. And we must stop the landmines if we can. I'm not a political figure. I am a humanitarian figure, and always have been, and always will be.
I'm not a political figure. I'm a humanitarian figure, and this was the year, this was only a few months before the car crash in Paris, which claimed her life. Yeah. So again, another reason why these pictures still resonate today.
And those pictures of her, she was in a place called Wambo, walking through that cleared path through the minefield. And those pictures, as Chris said, did go global at the time. But Harry returned to Wambo in 2019. We were with him on his tour then. And that area is now a bustling community full of shops and businesses. And these pictures that you're seeing now are him this week. He has been back once again to continue sort of highlighting the issue, literally following in his mother's footsteps. He was visiting the southeastern area of Angola, the largest minefield in Africa.
And does he talk as passionately and succinctly about why he's there? Because when we watch that clip of Diana speaking, in a very short space of time, she's made people understand why she's there, why it's important, the fact it's got nothing to do with politics, and it's about yes, she says humanitarian, but actually caring about people.
Well, you can see Harry from the visit this week in Angola, and he has the same concern his mother had all those years ago about the fact that these children are still at risk from the landmines that were laid in such phenomenal numbers during that wartime period. But I don't think this week's visit was felt as big as the one when we were there in 2019, because that was the first time he'd been back there.
Yes.
And it felt, I remember on the day we were there, it was a lead story on all of our bulletins and many other news outlets as well, because it was such a moment for her son to return. Of course, 2019, Harry was still in the royal family. In fact, that was the tour, the end of which was the famous interview that Tom Bradby did with Meghan Markle. How are you? Well, not very well, actually. Thanks for asking. It was a massive moment, actually, in 2019. But Harry still has that concern and still wants to try and make a difference to charities like the Halo Trust.
Yeah, he really wants to continue his mother's legacy. But on this trip, unlike 2019, when it was, a royal tour, he was there without the media. The media weren't invited. And of course, if you have media with you, of course it's going to go further. We were just given sort of images were handed to us from the Halo Trust.
But why? Why would they not invite press?
I just think Harry has a general dislike of the press, and
but we're the good guys. We're the good guys,
even us. And if he can do a trip without having us there, then he'd much rather do that.
Yeah, but I guess it's also important to balance out getting the message as far and wide as it possibly can. So I guess he's stuck in a little bit of a quandary at the moment in terms of how to try and balance that whilst also supporting such incredible work and incredible charities to make sure that their work is understood worldwide.
Oh yeah, and a total unbelievably incredible charity, and do so much work, not just in Angola, but in many other places as well, and still do to this day. I think that's what the thing you've got to remember. I mean, they're still demining right right now, but you can see the progress that they can make. And the Halo Trust has just signed another, I think, 3-year contract with the Angolan president. Harry was there for that. So they can continue to get the funding to do this work, because it just unlocks economic potential. For example, the very famous strip that Dana was walking in Wambo is, as Lizzie said, now a bustling town. That wouldn't have happened had they not demined it.
There are still 1,000 minefields, I think, in Angola, and work that continues with the Halo Trust. And Harry obviously understands the power of that image, which is why he's allowed those images to be released. He's visited, yes, in 2019 we were there on a tour, but he's visited Angola privately before that. So he has allowed images out there, and he understands the power of them.
But next time you're saying, pick up the phone and say, hey, would you like to come with us? And we'll say, OK, yes, we will.
Yeah, I mean, what you will have to explain to him, though, is that I don't get to go on the foreign trips like you do. So it'll just be the two of you, not the three of us.
Well,
look, if Harry wants me to go, I'll go.
Fine.
Just
we'll
WhatsApp me.
Yeah,
WhatsApp me, and I'll be there, Harry.
Yeah. Or you can have a coffee morning with him.
I can have a coffee morning
on a balcony somewhere.
I could be the person that brings peace. You mentioned Batty Doc's home earlier, because the Queen there, Queen Camilla, was there visiting, because, as she does, and they take animals. Their dogs come from Batty Doc's home. And did she take on another dog?
She didn't take her dog. So she's patron of Battersea. The reason she was there, she was opening the picture you can see now. She's in something called the Dog Garden that was created by Monty Don, and it was shown at Chelsea earlier this year. There she is with 4-month-old Dipsy, who was super cute.
So this was the Dipsy that you wanted to take home.
And actually, I think Camilla would have liked to take Dipsy home. She said, I could take another one, but Dipsy has a home. But there she is with Monty Don.
Oh.
So she's got 2 dogs currently.
She does.
Bluebell, who is a rescue from Battersea, and Molly, the puppy, who she recently adopted from Battersea, and her beloved Beth, who passed away last year, was also a rescue.
So Buckingham Palace put this picture out just to sort of go along with the story. So she didn't bring Molly because she said it was too hot. And also Battersea have some issues with sort of dogs coming from outside back into the home. So but Buckingham Palace put that picture out just to say, here's Molly. And I think that's the first time, or second time, we had a picture of her with the new rescue pup from Battersea.
Very, very
We had
cute.
some celebrity ambassadors there that she met: Amanda Holden, David Gandy, Sue Perkins. So,
you spoke to Amanda Holden about when we were there last time.
I did.
And she remembers Stella.
And Amanda's recently actually adopted a dog from Battersea, Minnie, who, she was very funny about her. It's probably a story I can't tell on here, though.
Okay. Is it one of those stories that you'll tell me when we stop recording?
Yes.
Okay. Love those stories. But also, it was the Queen's birthday this week. Queen Camilla had a birthday.
Yes, and there's so many things to say about the Queen's birthday. One, what do you get a Queen or a Queen consort who's generally got most things she needs in life? This is a picture, the official portrait picture by Chris Jackson from Getty
beautiful
Images.
picture.
Yeah, taken at Ray Mill, which is her home in Wiltshire. Anyone who doesn't know England, is sort of west of London on the way to Wales. That's her private home that she's kept, even though she married the King. What do you get her? Well, actually, one of the things you can get her is a title. You can call her the Vice Admiral of the Navy. The other thing you can get her is
a personalised cling film holder.
As in, like, actual cling film. Is that actual cling film?
So this is an inside joke. So she was visiting HMS Astute, the submarine that she is lady sponsor of. It's just finished its first commission, and she found out a while ago that there'd been some sort of problem with the engines, and they were sort of scrabbling around about what to use, and someone came up with the cling film. So they used the cling film to help repair or protect the engines.
Okay.
That's about the extent of my engineering knowledge. But anyway, the cling film was used to help the problem, and it's this inside joke, and so that's why she's got the cling film holder.
So she can now go home and just put the cling film on top of her leftover food from the palace kitchens.
I mean,
Is that the idea?
Is this something you'd both like for your birthdays at some point?
What, a personalised cling film holder?
Personalised cling
I would neither
film
want it to be
holder.
personalised nor anything. No form of cling film, thank you, for my
No,
birthday.
are you sure?
She found it very amusing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What to get the woman that has everything.
What happens
Something
to
edible.
cake?
So,
Yeah.
you know.
Anyway, okay. But also, So Meghan did a post this week.
Yes.
Was it on the Queen's birthday?
It was on the Queen's birthday, yes. It was on Thursday,
And
the day
it
the
said-
Queen turned 78, yes.
So, and like to quote, sending birthday love, both near and far, to my ladies.
Right, so what's far from California? London?
England?
Yes,
Yeah.
Buckingham
And
Palace.
whose birthday was it on the day that was sent?
No, she can't
So that's her-
possibly
well-
be her birthday. Shout out to Queen Camilla.
Well-
and I quote, sending birthday love, both near and far, to my ladies.
Ladies, plural.
Yeah.
So was that the Queen and somebody else? I mean, I cannot imagine for a second that Meghan is going to send her husband's stepmother. So what does that make? That's Meghan's stepmother-in-law.
Yeah.
A box of wine for her birthday, given everything Harry said about Camilla in his book and in all the interviews that he did around the book. I just think those were destined for other people in her life.
And it's perfectly understandable if Harry doesn't remember his stepmother's
So we're saying
birthday
it's a
date.
coincidence.
I think I kind of think it's a kind of date that Meghan would remember, even if Harry didn't.
Wow.
Well, yeah, it's a kind of date that I think she would have like as a reminder on her calendar
Yeah.
to sort of say,
Or maybe her office says, oh, it's
Yeah.
the Queen's birthday. She probably has a list of all these things
Yeah.
just to be aware.
but part of me also really hopes that Meghan likes referring to the Queen as one of my ladies.
One of my
One of my
ladies.
ladies,
Yeah.
near and far. And perhaps right now, somewhere in the palace, the Queen is unboxing. You remember Meghan loves an unboxing
She loves
experience.
it. Yeah.
Then we all.
Oh, or we could go even further to think that it's the Queen. No, it's the King and Harry that don't get on. But the Queen and Meghan have a very secret, deep and meaningful
These
friendship.
peace talks have gone much better
Well-
than anyone expected.
Do you know what? It is entirely possible, to be fair.
It is entirely
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
So she sort of sends her a birthday message.
Just
that
doesn't tell Harry. Actually, that
Yeah.
message, she didn't put the Queen on there because she didn't want Harry to know that
a
she and
cryptic
Camilla
clue.
are really good mates.
They are homies. Which is why she can refer to her as my
One of
lady.
my ladies.
Exactly. Well, guys, it's been a joy as always. Thank you very much. Are we together next week, or are you being flown abroad somewhere?
We need a peace summit in order to get back into the room.
Oh yes, of
together,
course,
yes.
of course. I'll get my people to contact your people, and we'll get that sorted.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Only senior staff from your office, no junior staff from your office, please.
I only have senior staff in my office. I don't know how your office works.
Differently.
Yeah, I only go for the best. Right, that's it from us. As always, thanks so much for having a bit of a listen. If you want to get in touch with us, do email us at talkingroyals@itv.com or pop us a little message on the socials. We are all over the socials. You can get in touch with us on YouTube and on Instagram underneath any of the videos that you watch.
Even on footwear, I was told.
Yes.
Even on footwear.
Yeah, I do have to say, one of you was not very happy with Chris's trainers last week.
And who came into the studio with trainers.
And I came in with trainers this week.
Just saying.
And then Chris frightened me
Maybe
into
we need a
taking
summit
off
about
the
what
trainers.
footwear to wear in the.
But also, my trainers haven't
Hiding
been in the
weather.
washing machine for a couple of
They're
weeks.
still trainers. They're
I'm
just
hiding them.
They are
No,
still
no,
trainers, but they
you
don't
know.
look quite as bad because they're black.
Yours have got mud on them.
Yeah, and mine. Yes, all right, Chris.
Just saying.
But no, I put my spare shoes
their
on. They're
heels.
always in my locker. All right, can't believe you just blown me up on the podcast.
There you go. Continue with the goodbye.
Oh my gosh. If you want to email us about our footwear, please, do go ahead. We do read them all and we love it when you get in contact with us. But do make sure you have a look through our back catalogue as well for a range of royal topics because we keep everything there. And give us a like if you're liking our content. But as always, thank you so much for having a bit of a listen to Talking Royals and we shall see you next week.